Welcome to the 2020 WhistleStop Winter Haven Virtual Hobnob. Welcome. My name is Katie Worthington Decker, and I am the President and CEO of the Greater Winter Haven Chamber of Commerce, and it is my privilege to be your MC for this video series. WhistleStop Winter Haven is traditionally an in-person event where members of the public can come together to shake hands and get to know the candidates that are on the ballot through one-on-one conversations. But as we all know, 2020 is a year to adapt, so we have pivoted this event to an online series of Zoom interviews. We certainly hope you take the time to listen to each of the candidates and learn a little bit more about them and what they stand for and while they're running. We have invited every candidate on the ballot in Polk County to participate, and we want to thank those candidates who did decide to do it. Full disclosure, the Winter Haven Chamber does not endorse any individual candidates, but we do believe in an informed electorate. So we hope that you find these videos useful as you are getting ready to fill out your ballot. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this video series. Our presenting sponsor is Citizens Bank and Trust. Our Meet the Candidates sponsor is Spectrum. Our additional sponsors include Citrus Connection, the Hemingway Group Realtors with Crosby & Associates, John Wood Realty, and the campaign of Sam Killebrew, District 41. As I mentioned, there are two important dates for you to remember coming up in this election. On August 18th is the primary. And while there are the traditional Democrat and Republican primary races, there are also some very important local races that will be decided during that election. These include school board, county commission, supervisor of election, and the Lake Region Lakes Management District. And of course, the second date to remember is the general election that will be held nationally on November 3rd. We hope that you will find this video series useful, and please encourage your family and friends that are eligible to vote to do so. It is our greatest right as American citizens. Enjoy. Thank you so much for participating in our 2020 virtual WhistleStop political hobnob. By purchasing your virtual booth, you've given us as the chamber the opportunity to educate the public on the upcoming candidates and the races and the issues that are on the ballot, both in August and in November. And so since your campaign has purchased this virtual booth, the Florida Division of Elections does require the following statement to be made.
Of course. This is a paid political advertisement by Steve Enzor, nonpartisan candidate for seat 2 on the Lake Region Lakes Management District Commission.
Very good, very good. Well, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. So,
right.
For our viewers that may not be familiar with the Lake Regions Management District, what are the responsibilities of the district and what is the role of a commissioner on the Lake Management District?
Well, the district was formed in 1919, so it's 101 years old. It's one of the oldest agencies in the area. And the primary things that it was tasked to do was to connect as many of the lakes in Florida or in Winter Haven as possible. So they purchased land, or land was donated, they dug the canals, and then from then, it's been a maintenance issue. It's been water quality projects, water quantity projects. We get our water from the sky, so the most that we can retain in these lakes is really important to the local area to recharge the aquifer and for all the recreational aspects. And then it's also tasked with providing access to the public to the lakes through boat ramps and docks and that type of thing. We have partnerships with Polk Community College. We do some work with the city of Winter Haven to put in, and then we own property on the lakes that some of the boat ramps are put in on. So in general, it's to further the benefit of our unique resources to the residents of the area.
Mm-hmm.
As far as commissioners are concerned,
Mm-hmm.
what we're responsible for, the charter states that we'll keep records, that we will hire staff. Primarily, we hire an executive director who hires the staff, and we oversee that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big things that is done is we have a long-term comprehensive plan that is altered every year, and new things are added. For instance, re-seawalling or cleaning out canals or putting in new boat ramps. We have those kinds of goals that we take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And then, being a taxing agency, we're also required to set millage rates every year and collect the tax. Well, we don't collect the taxes, but the tax collector does. We I think now our tax collection revenue is somewhere around $1.2 million
Annually.
and
Mm-hmm.
annually. And a lot of people don't realize that they don't look at their tax bills and notice that everybody within the district boundaries, which go to north of Lake Alfred to the south end of Winter Haven, and it's a real odd boundary. It doesn't conform with any other boundaries, but everybody within those boundaries that owns a home pays taxes. A lot of people think that just the people that live on the lake pay the taxes, but actually everyone does. And if my tax bill is, let's say my home value is $100,000, then I'm going to pay approximately $47 a year, which is a pretty good deal for the lakes.
Yes.
That's one of the best deals in town right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and why you've decided to run for this specific office.
I'm a lifelong resident of Winter Haven. Graduated from Winter Haven High School in 1969, and have stayed in the area. I've left a couple of times for short periods, but this is home. This is where I want to live, and I actually live in a house that's about a mile from the first house I ever remember living in. The lakes give us this unique quality and also a crazy street system, but everybody has a different interest in the lake. Some people like the fishing, some people like the skiing, and at different times I've enjoyed all of that. But what they mean, the most that they mean to me now from just a personal standpoint, is the visual peace that I get. I walk in the mornings, and when I walk around Lake Elbert, it's a great way to start my day at looking at what's going on the lakes. That's my primary interest as far as personal. I have a passion for the water that falls on us out of the sky being utilized here as much as possible. I was on the commission, was elected 3 times beginning in 2000, and my last term ended in 2013, and I decided not to run again. We accomplished a whole lot of stuff. It was a really interesting time in Winter Haven. There was a lot of controversy going on, and I'm pretty passionate, so I was in the middle of it. And it all worked out well for everybody involved, really. And we accomplished some great stuff, like reconnecting the north and south chain of lakes. That connection had gone away and been filled in, and you couldn't drive a boat from the south chain to the north chain, and we were able to open that up, and it gets a lot of use, and from what I've observed, people have been really happy with it. But there's one project that I didn't get to finish, and that has to do with a water quality, water management, wetlands project. And in the recent past, the district purchased 300 acres of land on the west side of Rifle Range Road, going from Eloise to Juanita. That property is going to be turned into the simple way to describe it is a mini Circle B. It's going to be an environmental project. It's going to be a recreational project. We're looking at 5 to 8 years to make it happen. We've been real fortunate that Polk County and the state of Florida contributed about $1.3 million in the purchase of it, and then the district contributed several $100,000 more to get it started. While I haven't been a member of the commission, I've stayed involved with it, stayed up to date with it, and have been working with one of our local legislators to try to help get the Southwest Florida Water Management District to grant us an exemption to the extremely expensive permitting process to do what we're trying to do. But it's a really interesting project. I think once as people see it get started and develop into what we believe it's going to be, I think people are in the area are going to be really excited about it.
Yeah, we often get questions about, is there a Circle B like place somewhere a little closer, even though I think Circle B is pretty close.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty much technically in Winter Haven, but you know, there is a lot of interest in that, getting back to nature and that kind of that Florida, that natural Florida side of both tourism as well as residential, being able to enjoy that. So that's great.
Well, if folks want to see where it is, all you have to do is drive out Rifle Range Road, and as soon as you leave Eloise, if you look to your right going south, all of the pasture land that you see is part of what will be there. There'll be thousands of cypress trees planted. There'll be 150-acre water retention area that will be utilized for kayaks and canoes. Two of the big things that it's going to do, well, the most important thing is it's going to set aside 300 acres that can't ever be used for anything else. Then it's going to affect the water quality, serve as a filter for the water that goes downstream. Right now, when the chain of lakes gets to a high level, water just flows down the Juanita Ditch to the Peace Creek or Peace River and then out to the ocean. Once this project is done, there will actually be a structure so that we can let that water go gradually, which will keep from flooding the Juanita area and also not let more water go than we want to. We'll be able to retain it here. It's hard for me to talk about anything other than this project, but there's some other things that actually are producing income for us out there right now. We're harvesting hay. There's a citrus grove on the property. There's even some mango trees out there and some bananas. When it's finished, there'll be walking trails. It'll, like I say, a mini Circle B, and I think folks will enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been exciting to see the number of projects. I mean, Circle B kind of ignited it. You've also got Bonnet Springs Park happening in Lakeland right now, which is a really exciting, eco project, kind of calling it the Central Park, if you will, of Polk County. With Springs. But that's really exciting to hear that we've got something that could potentially happen in the Winter Haven community. It's great. So you mentioned that. Are there any other priorities that you think are really important for the Lakes Management District to address in the next few years?
Well, as far as the canals and the sea walls and the boat ramps are concerned, they're in such great shape that it's a maintenance thing at this point. Right now, there's work going on in the Winterset Eloise Canal with some new seawalling, and that work's probably maybe another year away from being finished. And those kind of things are ongoing, but most of our efforts will end up being, big efforts will be in this area that we're talking about out in the Eloise Juanita area. And our comprehensive plan is looked at again every year, and sometimes we add things, but that's the big one right now.
How much does you said you work with the city on some things and the county on some things, and this conversation made me think of the One Water initiative that the city of Winter Haven is going through right now,
Right,
in terms of really a master plan, coming up with a master plan, a comprehensive plan for the long term to accomplish just what you said within your legislative purview.
right.
But has the Canal Commission been involved in that conversation at all?
Well, everything, and the district manager could speak to the specifics of what he's been involved with in them, but this particular project fits in it perfectly. I mean, it's just a great addition to that, and the city's been supportive of that. It it's just another star in our area for that.
Absolutely. And why should voters need to research the candidates for this and not skip past
Absolutely,
it.
absolutely.
But why should a voter choose you over any of the other individuals running for this seat?
Well, I think they should because of my record. I'm really proud of what happened in the 3 terms that I served in the past. I've got an extensive current knowledge of the business of the district, relationships with state legislators, local city commissioners, and other leaders in the community. So I have access to their ear. I have a tremendous passion for this agency. In the last 32 years, since the current administration has been in, 32 years ago, it was almost dead. It was almost going to be dissolved because of a lot of trouble that had occurred. Since then, my belief is that this agency has become a tremendous example of what a government agency can be. I see a lot of stuff in the news that really doesn't make me feel real proud about a lot of things in government. This agency makes me feel real proud to say I'm a part of it. Basically, my experience, I have a full-time availability, and I'm ready to go from yesterday.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today and be a part of our WhistleStop program. It's a unique year for all of us, I think, and how we're doing this. And certainly if you're running for office, how you can get out and meet with the people when you can't physically meet with the people that are going to be voting. So Steve, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank the chamber for the opportunity of putting this on. I think it was a wonderful idea, and I appreciate the chance. Thank you.
Of course.